fashion is changing the behavior of consumers. There was some 1970s when the bell bottom were used. Now the jeans are in the fashion. Some days short were fashion. Some days the thousands of years ago there was no fashion. So the fashion is changing. Then the need of product is also changing. Now what do you think? The global warming has any impact on the changing consumer behavior? Yes. Yeah. Right. So now the temperature of Yangon is not the same as what used to be 10 years ago. Right. The quality of the rain, the quantity of the rains is not the same as 10 years ago. So the changing is also coming from the environment. Not only, and the fashion is also impacted by the environment. The more heat you have, the less different type of clothes you need. Right now, you need more waterproof things because the rain can start at any point of time. You never know when you will have rainy. Then availability of information. As we discussed yesterday, we established it already that the consumers are very smart nowadays because they have access to a lot of information about the product, about the alternatives. You know that in the past, then when there was no internet, you have no one country products are not able to reach the another country, and even the same country within the same state, within the same districts, you may not know what's happening in the downtown, or what's happening in Mandalay, what's happening in the other parts of the country, because the information travels very late. You know, the coffee that, for example, in the past the trade were used to do only by a sea route, when the people from the different countries were traveling and they bring the products to the another country. So then they realize, oh, there is a need for the coffee, right? For example, coffee in the southern part, in this Asian parts, the coffee was not that famous. Coffee was more famous in Europe, but the people trade it, and then they bring in the coffee. So the need was arise at that point of time. There was no need for coffee actually, right? But since the information spreads and the taste spread, then there's a need. The people are tasting things. So the need is also arising. Sometimes you don't have an existing need. So we in your course, I'm not sure, you may have a course on the innovation later on. So that innovation means the need is sometimes you have to create. Sometimes the needs are created out of the products. There is no need existing. It's not necessarily the needs are existing in the moment, but it can be in the future. So innovations are happening in the digital market as well. In the consumer markets, the products are being available which are not needed at this point of time, but will be needed later on. Or the after the product is launched, the features are spread out. There is a lot of videos ongoing, YouTube is ongoing, and then the new innovations are coming up, so people know about them, even though they didn't. Oh, now they may not know that they need something, but once they see the video, once they see the benefits of the product, then they realize, oh, actually we also need it, right? So the availability of information is affecting and changing the behavior of the customers. They are now getting more classy. They want convenience. They are not really the valuing the money anymore. The rising level of disposable income is also changing the customer behavior. Right? If you when you were a student, you would maybe travel by bus. Then you started the job. Initially the job. Then you started a taxi. And then when your disposable income increase, you don't want taxi anymore because you don't want to wait in the line. You want car, correct? And when your disposable income reach a certain level, when you don't need money for savings or for your needs, then you want a luxury car, right? Then you need a status symbol car. When you become a CEO of the company, then you will need a Ferrari. The Honda is not enough, not good enough, because the status symbol. So the disposable income and the status, social status also is affecting the consumer behaviors. Okay. Then there are difference. The organizational behavior, organizational consumers and the consumer are different. Oh, sorry, organizational customers. Consumer is a customer. So consumer means who consume things by themselves for their own personal use or their gratification. Organizational, they need for the services to some of their own customers, right? So the behaviors are changing. So who are more, organizational or consumers in the quantity? Consumer are more, right, because of the population. Organizational customers are very less. But who you think who spends more? organization, because their purchasing power is more. The per organization they are spending more. Maybe in overall consumers might be spending more because the volume, but per organization, per person, or per average on organizations are spending more money, right? Then you have relationship. So who needs more closer relationship in among the organization and consumers? Who need it? Consumers need more personal relationship, or organizations need more personal relationship? Organization need personal relationship with the seller, with the between the buyer and seller. There is a constant touch. Correct. Even the manufacturer, the CEO, the salesperson, the other people's, the troubleshooting people's, they are always in a constant touch because the stakes are very high. Right. The amount is very long lasting. The consumers are on the other way around. They need very less personal touch. They need of course in the troubleshooting, but not too much. Correct. Reasonable rationality of decisions. So who makes more rational decisions? Who is where? What is the rational of this? Is there any difference between the decision making rational of organizational customers and your consumers? What is the rational when you buy something? How do you weigh your decision that you want to buy Apple or Samsung? How do you make it? How do you make a decision? Based on the cost, based on the value, based on the brand, based on the features. What is your decision? Based on the brand features. Brand and feature. So you based on brand and feature. You based on price because you are from finance. Okay, and how about you? Based on usage. Based on the usage. Okay. And how about you, sir? Price and features. Price and features. How about you? Price. Oh, you are all organizational behavior, organizational customers. The consumers normally they don't really look for the price. They look for value for money. So even they may buy between Apple and Samsung. They may buy Apple, even Apple is more expensive. But their perceived value or brand value or the feature or the benefits for Apple is higher than the Samsung. And those who buy Samsung, they are also think that Samsung is better because of the freedom that they are giving, the iOS they are using. They are using two different iOS, right? They have different features. In Apple, you cannot add storage. In Samsung, you can add anything. Correct. So the difference between the value perception is so our consumers usually buy their bands on the brand value, on the value for money. Organizational behavior, organizational customers buy on economic. What is my price point? They don't really care about the color, they don't really care about the brand, they don't really care about anything else. They just care for the benefits they are getting and the price they are paying. That's the two things they need. And then they are negotiating the price, right? That's why there's a higher negotiation in organizational behaviors rather than consumers, because consumers, they for them the price is not the decision making point. What matters is for them is the brand value. Then you have a reciprocity. What is the reciprocity? Reciprocity. The English meaning of reciprocity is to return, to buy something, right? So in our sense, reciprocity means if I do something for you, you also need to do something for me. Return your favor, right? So if the Apple is buying, let's say when you buy an Apple, are you going to say hire me? Otherwise, I will not buy Apple. Hire my services. Cannot say, right? But if you are manufacturing a Toyota car and then Toyota is going to buy maybe let's say the clothes or factory for their uniforms, they can go and tell you buy our Toyota cars. Otherwise, we will not buy from you. They can, right? They are buying the food or they are buying water. They are buying anything which is a bulk. They can always go to the customer and say, if you gonna work with us, you have to work. You have to use our cars. Otherwise, we are not working with you anymore. Correct? So that is called reciprocity. So consumers cannot force reciprocity. Organizational customers, they definitely force reciprocity, and they prefer to work with the buyers who are using their products because it's a give and take, right? They are buying something from you, means they want to sell something to you also. It's not the one way only, right? They are giving you the benefits, so they want benefits as well. So this is the difference between organizational and the consumers. Okay, so now we are trying to understand how what is the consumer behavior changes and what are the factors. So the consumer behavior is you can segregate between the who buys. So who makes a decision to buy? Sorry, it can be individuals, it can be a family. So if it's a family, so there are five peoples in five type of buyers in the family in the groups. Individual is easier because this is the one who makes a decision, is the one who choose, is the one who pays, right? But in the families or in the groups, there is somebody who initiate the purchase, right? There's somebody who influence the decision. There's somebody who makes a decision. There's somebody who buys, and there's somebody who use it. For example, consider a toy, right? In your family, your kid go to market and then he want to buy that particular toy. So who is the initiator of the purchase? The children, correct? The person who saw it, he want to buy. It can be somebody else. Yes, your children's name, right? It's okay, no problem. It's more personal is better, easy to understand. Now your children has make a request. It can be you also can be the initiator. You go to the market and like, oh, this is very good for my kid. So the person who is initiating is the you, right? Not the children anymore. But who is the influencer? What who makes a decision? Who is influencing that? Okay, I need to buy or I don't need to buy, or what color I want to buy, what brand I want to buy. Is the person who is. It can be the person who initiate, or it can be the person who not initiate, right? The person who is going to influence. It can be anybody in the family. It depends on how the family works, right? And then the decider, what brand to decide, who will decide. It can be a father, it can be a mother, it can be anyone else, right? Usually it's the mother. They're the bosses. And who is the actual buyer? Means who pays the money? That's the father, right? Usually the buyer, the decider and the buyers are different, but it can be same person, right? And who is the user? The person who actually use is somebody else. It can be somebody else, or it can be the same person. So it may be the kids who are initiating, who are influencing the decision also that I want to buy this only. There's no other choice. Decision is also taken by him that okay, I want to buy it. Let's make a decision. The buyer is maybe the parents, but and the user is also the kid again, right? So it's a different scenario. Consider you are going for a travel and then you see some clothes or you see some chocolates for your kids, then you want to bring it. So here the initiators are you, buyer is you, decider is you, the influencer is somebody else because you're not influencing it. The influencer depend on who is gonna use it, and the user is also your family, right? So that the consumer behavior change who is buying. So and then how do they buy? What is the decision making process? Right? Though there is a five-step decision making process. How the consumers are buying. So they want to solve the. It can be a solve for solving a problem, or it can be for satisfying a need only. So or sometimes no need. Sometimes it's just out of the that's something you like it. Sometimes there's no rational decision from the especially from the consumer behavior. Right? Sometimes you just buy it because you want to buy it. There's no reason. There's no need. There's no solving of any problem as well. Then you are aware of the but you need to be aware of inhibitor. Sometimes, let's say for example, inhibitor means the person who is difficult, the person who will the things which are stopping them to buy. For example, you are buying on let's say on Alibaba, no, maybe not Alibaba, shop.com.mm, right? So you want to go and see, you want to buy something, you go and search of your product which is not available physically. The problem is you don't have a credit card, and they accept only the credit card. So it's an inhibitor, right? So you have faced this inhibition that you want to actually buy. But the problem is if there is any organization which is selling only on shop.com.mm, they are dead because the Myanmar people will never be able to buy. Right? Consider a purchase on your face through Facebook. Do you really trust that the thing that you are ordering through Facebook, you will get the same thing which is being advertised? Most of the time maybe the product which you will get in your hands and the product which was looking in the photo is different. right? And so and but the good thing is you still haven't paid anything because you have not made the purchase, but you already got the product. So it depends on the condition. Sometimes they ask money in advance by a wallet or something. But how comfortable you will feel next time you are making a purchase when you are paying in advance money through the internet, right? It depends on the market. So the demographics here. The consumer behavior of Myanmar is different from the consumer of US. They are more relying on the online purchases. Here in this part of the world, we are still don't trust the online purchase. Correct? So if the company, whoever is selling their product here in Myanmar, they don't understand the consumer behavior, they will not be able to sell. If they are trying only via Facebook, they are trying only via internet, there is no store, right? So they will not be able to sell it. So it's different. And then, okay, the choice criteria. So sometimes it can be economic, right? You may base your decision on the price. Then you may be deciding on the social benefits. Oh, my friend is doing it. Okay, let me buy this also. Or my society is buying this. I also need to buy. I bought my first iPhone because I used to work in Shangri-La Hotel, and everybody, even the waiters, are using iPhone, and I used to use the Samsung, the lower quality one. So then I got shamed, because I was the division head. So I was the top boss. I was the top boss, and top boss is using a cheap Samsung phone, and the waiters are using the latest iPhone. So I had to buy. No choice. I had to invest my money. And then your personal reasons. It depends on your. Now if you want to sell me a Samsung, I will not buy anymore, even if it's half of the price, because I cannot use it. It's difficult for me. I have been using iPhone for last 6 7 years. I'm already put into the ecosystem of Apple. Yes, their platform. Only thing is, I'm still using the Windows. The good thing is, I haven't started using Mac. Otherwise, I will be completely off the Windows and the Android. Everything gone finished already. But the thing is now is my personal behavior. I'm actually considering to buy a Mac, but but I don't need it at this point of time. My work is happening with the Windows. It's fine, but it's my personal preference. If I get a chance, I'll buy. So it depends on the personal behavior also sometimes when they want to buy. It depends on the time when are they buying it, right? So the behavior is also changing. The every consumer segment, every target market has different timing when they buy a product, correct? And how they buy it. They are buying online. They want to touch. They want to pay. They want to feel. They want online distribution, offline distribution. They want the home delivery. So it depends on what kind of approach they take. So this one is different. These five things are different for each customer segment. We were discussing about the marketing mix, right? We were discussing about how marketing mix is different for P, 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 P. So this is one of the P, correct? So how the marketing mix will depend on the consumer behavior. What kind of consumer you are having. So it's a targeting, and that's why it's important to do the segmentation. Right? Segmentation based on whom you want to target. Segmentation based on how do they buy it. What your promotion plan will depend on how they choose the criteria and when they are doing the criteria. For example, travel industry, correct? Business people, they buy very short. They may, if they, let's say I'm traveling now, I want to travel next week. I will not make my plan immediately because of my needs. The business needs are immediate. I will choose the hotel in next 7 days. Whenever I'm traveling, I will choose very close to my actual travel date. Even though I have planned 6 months ahead, I will not book the tickets or the hotel 6 months ahead because my plans can change. Right? Now come back to the leisure or somebody who is traveling from Europe. They will make their plans 6 months ahead. They will not choose, okay, next week let's go to Myanmar. You don't even have a ticket. You don't even have a visa. You don't even have a hotel booking, right? And it can be expensive. So consumer also make decision how fast you can buy. Your pricing also is depending. Is also changing, correct? So that's why you may see Myanmar has now done a visa exemption, right, for certain countries. The reason why they have done this so that they can attract some last minute travelers, because visa is one of the inhibitors which is stopping them from coming ad hoc. Right now they can come ad hoc. The Japanese can come, the Korean can come. They don't need a visa anymore, so they can plan their trip very quickly. Correct. The tickets are available. They have a direct flight, so there's no problem with that. Only problem was the visa. Now visa is solved, so that's why you will see an increase in the travel tourism from those two countries. So it's not only the companies, also the government is understanding the consumer behavior, and they make their marketing mix based on the consumer behavior. Okay. Now the how the consumers make a decision, the decision making process. If let's say this is the buying situation, so it depends your their decision making process or choice criteria depends on the buying situation. What is the situation there they are buying? If they want to solve a very big problem, right, it's an extensive problem, then they will do a very extensive market research. They will go and check on different websites. They will go and check with their friends. They will go and check with the peers or follow the one who has been experiencing the same. So, but they will do the thing is they will do extensive market research about the problem, and especially it's used for new needs. If you have never experienced the need, then you have never experienced the product, right? So you will go and extensively research different places. And then limited problem solving means you just upgrading your product. Maybe the product you have been using. So you have some experience with the product, but your needs are growing. So you just need an upgrade. So you will not do a lot of research. You will just check around if the new feature, there is a new product with the same person, with the same brand that you are being using. Automatic response means they are loyal customers. Like for example, Apple. Whenever they launch a new phone, some of them they just buy it immediately, no questions asked. Correct. So the buying situation is different for each customer. It depends on how much research they do, how much product they are using. It depends on what is their buying situation, or what are their loyalty, their needs. Then they have, oh sorry. Then they have personal influences, right? Their personality traits. What do they like? What colors they like? What are their taste? So it all depends on their personal preferences. Motivation. What is their motivation to buy? What is their perception to their own individual perception? What do you think how what are the factors that affect personal influences? What are the things that makes the difference between the two peoples? Your personal preference may be different from my personal preference. So what are the differences? How these are different? What are the things that makes us different? Do we live in same country? Correct. So it's a country of residence. You may be born in a rich family. Somebody might have born in a not so rich family. So there is an upbringing difference. Correct. You didn't go to the same schools, right? So the education background also makes a difference. Correct. You don't work for the same company, right? So the company where you are working also makes a difference on your personal choices. You are not living in the same place also, correct? You are living in different societies. Maybe somebody might be come from Mandalay, somebody might come from Shan State, maybe so you have different, right? Not everybody is, even though you all of you may be Buddhist, but you may have some different region, right? Maybe somebody is coming from Shan State, somebody is coming from the another state. So you have cultural differences, right? I'm Hindu, so I have different culture. So there are the personal influences are different from your education status, your gender, your organizational behavior, your other things, right? There are many differences. Then you have your social difference influences. So social class. What is your social class? Means you are from middle income family, you are from the high income end, you are from the lower income end, right? And your culture. We have already discussed that, and your family background. Okay, so these are the differences